My favourite Best Picture winner of the 21st century thus far, one of my absolute favourite films of all time. I may be throwing away some credibility for not having a very interesting opinion here. I think this is the bandwagon for you to hold at the time of its release and then subsequent win at the Academy Awards ceremony early the next year, 2018. The Shape of Water, so beautiful and so perfect that it almost just overwhelmed me to the point where I didn't feel the sum of the film's parts. And this isn't a critique of the film, it was just one of those things where I was just so detached and objectively analysing the use of space, the storyline, conjuring this world, this very sentimental and kind of fine-tuned take of the pre-psychedelic America. It's some of the most memorable performances of all time, the use of VFX and contemporary cinematography to compose this grounded fantasy. There's so much that I adore about The Shape of Water that it's I remember at one time I had a criteria for what would make my top 50 films. There'd be films that every second of the film is just like, oh, I adore this, something akin to the experience of watching Terry Gilliam's Brazil, Ridley Scott's Alien, or Blade Runner, Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Tobe Hooper, Kluger's The Assault of the Present on the Rest of Time, the German Chainsaw Massacre, well, front for that in there, or even Romero's Dawn of the Dead, why not? Psycho, Psycho. And The Shape of Water has that too. Like, it's not just, it is so carefully and considerately a passion project. It comes across as a film which had been thought about by its filmmaker for decades, and finally he has the chance to unleash it. And it might be impressive to claim that it's potentially one of my 50 favourite films, or one of my favourite Best Picture winner of the 21st century, or whichever. But to me, what's more impressive is I adored Pan's Labyrinth, I adored Hellboy 2, and I did not think that another Del Toro film could come along which might dethrone one of those two as my favourite of his works. And it came along. I mean, you could argue it's an Abe Sapien film in some ways, and that's okay. We love Abe Sapien here. And we also love the Gill Man in general, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Del Toro was inspired by Creature from the Black Lagoon. He wondered what would happen if the Gill Man had been successful and his unrequited love had been, in fact, requited. That is The Shape of Water. Well, not quite. She's a Gill person as well. I remember people were angry at the time, like, oh my god, this is fucking degenerate film about a woman who has an affair and falls in love with a Gill man. Like, she's a Gill woman. Like, it's not like danger. It's not evil. Like, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. I know what to tell you. You don't have a soul. And I might not have a soul either, but that's how I know. But you know what? Unlike you creeps who don't have souls, also, I do wish I had a soul. And I yearn for the experience of a soul. And maybe that's why I appreciate The Shape of Water. And maybe that's why it kind of overwhelms me, and I feel it's like I can't appreciate the film in the same way as I do the sum of its parts, if you know what I mean, because I don't have a soul. But The Shape of Water makes me feel as though how I might if I did have a soul. That is priceless.